Now, the second poem, only fish have the proper scales. A man he would a-measuring go with compass, scales, and string, the ambition he harboured to measure the height, to measure the width, to measure the length, to measure the weight, to measure the strength of every conceivable thing. And so it was that he spent his life measuring all from his toes to his wife. What you would meet him, oh, that cannot be. One day he tried to measure the sea. Now, third poem, The Lake of Tears. Tell me, O willow, why dost thou weep beside the lake? Why dost thou weep? I will not tell thee why I do weep beside the lake. I will not tell you why I weep so. I know why thou weepest, O willow, I know, for thy branches, thy leaves, and thy trunk. They will come with axes and rope when they come for to chop thee up. No, not for myself I weep, but for the tree alone on the hill. For they shall come with axes and saws, and him shall they fell to the ground. Then why dost thou weep, O foolish tree, for the tree alone on the hill? For while they hack and saw him down, they will spare not a thought for thee. Oh, then I shall tell thee, O foolish man, why I weep beside the lake. From wood they make boards, from these a box to lay thee in. So now I must tell thee, O foolish man, the tears I shed are for thee. Fourth poem, entitled Fuhuri, based upon a poem by the Japanese poet, as far as I can pronounce it, Yamanoe Akura, way back in, I think, the 10th century. Fuhuri. What in all the world is most desired? The precious ores, the 7 precious gems. Yet what are these to one whom heaven gave his fairest pearl? That gem his love brought forth today, our son, Fuhuri, our little son. Oh, why did heaven lend to us his choicest jewel? When the star of morning shone, he wakened us, pinching, jumping, and when the star of evening shone, he lay between us, there to be a lily cupped by 2 green leaves. But like that short-lived flower, his freshness faded, wilted, paled, as he grew weak, lying sick upon his bed, until the bird of night came, claiming prey. Lord of heaven and earth, oh why, you possessor of both realms, took from our scant store our gem, our flower? O why, Lord of dark shades and night, to whose realm of nothing falls all the realm of being owned, why did you seize in such unseemly haste what in full time you attained with better grace? What cause had you to begrudge a little season's bliss? O Lord of dreams and visions, why did you, as though consoling, promise to return to us our pearl, our flower, and tell us and let us see his smiles again, and let us hear his laughter as before, in our waking as we lay, till memory with its vial of gall poisoned the first quaff of the cup of day, that we felt his death not once, but as oft as breaks the light of day. O why? Servant of the Lord of Death, lead him gently, for he is young, too young to know the way. Bid me bear him on my strong shoulders home. The next poem is entitled Anne and Mary. "Is this the gate of heaven?" asked Mary. "Silly," said Anne. "It's only the gate of the park." As they walked down the glade, Mary asked, "Who lives in the trees over there? Look, they are waving at us." "It's nobody," said Anne. "Just the shades dancing over the grass under the trees." "Let's climb the mound," said Mary. "Yes, let's," said Anne. "Does this hill lead to the sky?" asked Mary. "Of course it doesn't," snapped Anne. "If you were big like me, you'd see the thorns and thistles with purple flowers on the brow of the hill, you would." "Are hilly brows like eyebrows?" asked Mary. "Sort of, only different," said Anne, looking very deliberate like Mum sometimes. Mary ran ahead. "Look," she cried, "you can see a piece of sky where there's a hole in the ground." "Silly," said Anne. "That's the reflection of the sky in the lake. Let's go down and see the swans." Once at the lakeside they saw a swan swimming towards them. "Is it an angel?" asked Mary. Her elder sister was speechless for one moment. "It's just lovely," sighed Anne, who had dropped her omniscient guard. Now, in a different tone, on the sowing of tears, tears, and terror. "No more need of mumbo-jumbo, abracadabra, voodoo, stargazing, necromancy, what have you. If you are prospecting for ill omens, take a tip. Don't dabble in the kid stuff. Don't bother with the book of changes, the passing of predatory fowl, teacups, the hoot of the owl, spooky doings at midnight, to disembowel an ox, or a stray cat, anything come to that, would be very messy and quite unnecessary. But consider this. In some corner of a foreign field that is forever, in some dark shelter of a bombed-out camp or settlement that is forever, part of your world and mine, with the whiff of cordite, with the stench of unburied dead in his nostrils, with the rattle of the machine-gun in his ears, a man-child is born. Fear this, for he will not necessarily forgive. Now another poem, the sort of thing an old-time prophet might be saying now. The stone that was rejected now hovers overhead, the sword of retribution still dangles by a thread. The careless laugh and squander, the hungry starve away. Men mock the storm and thunder, deny the coming day. They bomb, exploit, and plunder, of necessity, they say. And Rachel is still weeping for the babes slain at her feet, in Rama ever keeping her blood-stained swaddling sheet. No longer do they crucify, they poison, gas, and maim. No martyr do they glorify, nor honour with a name. But the greatest lie they proffer, it is not that God is dead. He's sleeping, says the scoffer, on yon high and cloudy bed. Finally in this session, Rambling Fred. Excuse my rambling on so, but my style ought to be consonant with the theme of these lines, a tramp called Rambling Fred. Knowing where all roads lead eventually, he takes his time to enjoy the splendour more than Solomon's in field and hedgerow. Sleeping in ditches, he can claim the best of precedents. But what does he do for sex? Every choice involves some sacrifice. Would that every heroic, high-powered executive knew. But perhaps He's some kind of priest or friar, belonging to the grand order of humankind. To him, whether he says so or no, nature is a trunk, nature is a temple with trunks for pillars. Does that make him a symbolist like Baudelaire? Do you think he's heard of Ariosto? Harry who? No use asking me, mate. Never had an education. Spare 50p? Yet, despite it all, he's rich, on survival and a cup of char. For social security purposes, he's got a permanent address in Hitchin, but still prefers to do odd jobs or cadge off friends in St Albans. Then hasn't he dropped or opted out? True, his productivity is low. Economists take note. He is a pioneer in low consumption. His example may thus help us overcome the world energy crisis. But what does he do when caught in a storm? Though fast cars splash dirty water in his face, something a churchman might call grace sustains. Swish! That was his lordship's rolls. Thoughts of revenge? No, they are far behind. For if you really believe that wisdom can stand on its own 7 feet, there's little inclination left to expend your energies on anything less than the quest for life's true meaning. Time is a butler who never quite loses track of the household accounts. Even lords and ladies must eventually muck in with the queen bee and worker ant. Apologies for 1 or 2 slips-ups in reading. Thank you.